Ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. They're definitely afraid of their kids, who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. Their kids, thinking up stupid what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
Bill Maher continues to drop truth bombs on the DNC, and honestly, it wouldn't be surprising if he completely parts ways with the left before the year ends. In his latest episode, Maher delivered a blistering and hilarious takedown, calling out the DNC as spineless and directionless. He ripped into them as a clique of smug elitists pushing nonsense so absurd it even makes the clueless cringe. If you're into sharp, fearless political commentary, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.
Democrats need to get their together because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for a rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video. Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true.
Bill Maher isn't pulling any punches. He's openly calling out the DNC as a complete disaster, a party lost with no real sense of direction. And he's got a point. Who's actually leading the Democrats right now? Some say it's AOC, proudly waving the progressive flag. Others think Bernie Sanders is still trying to keep the revolution alive. A few claim Kamala Harris is at the helm, though her approval ratings tell a different story. Then there's Gavin Newsom, California's polished governor, more focused on his image than solving problems. But Maher's main question cuts through it all. Who's bringing them together under one vision? His answer is brutally simple. No one. That's why, he says, the Democratic Party looks like a car with 4 people fighting over the steering wheel. And Maher's just getting started on exposing how this leadership vacuum is tearing them apart from within.
The man is at a Coldplay concert. And while Republicans could like Coldplay, they don't, but they could. It's unlikely that this guy is a Christian conservative because he was having an affair with a woman. No, I knew they were Democrats for the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval.
Maher doesn't hold back. He says the DNC's confusion boils down to one thing: fear. They're terrified. He compares them to that awkward couple caught on the kiss cam at a Coldplay concert the moment the camera zooms in. Panic hits, and they scramble to hide. That's the Democrats right now, exposed, anxious, and desperate to cover up their own mess. Maher even points to Gretchen Whitmer, who once literally ducked behind a pile of files in the Oval Office, hoping to avoid attention. It's the perfect symbol for a party that hides instead of leads. Where courage should be, there's cowardice. Where vision should guide them, there's only duck and cover politics. And as Maher bluntly puts it, the DNC will never win hearts when it's too busy running scared.
Saying that only Democrats run and hide, but Democrats seem to be afraid of everything. They were petrified of COVID, masking 2-year-olds who never would have died from it and keeping schools closed for far too long.
Under DNC leadership, America's schools were locked down for nearly a year during COVID, devastating education and isolating millions of kids. And for what? Study after study showed children were at minimal risk. Yet Democrats kept fueling fear, enforcing strict vaccine mandates and demanding total compliance from families who resisted. They claimed it was about safety, but Maher argues it was really about control, driven by fear of the virus and an even deeper fear of losing political power. Meanwhile, while everyday Americans were told to mask up, stay home, and sacrifice, the political elite lived by a different set of rules. Remember, California's Governor Gavin Newsom caught dining maskless at an upscale restaurant while his state was locked down. That moment summed it all up: hypocrisy at its finest. The DNC preached sacrifice but practiced privilege, proving that their moral high ground was nothing but a stage act.
Definitely afraid of their kids. who from time immemorial have always come up with bad ideas. They're kids, thinking up stupid what they do. But parents used to tell them, that's ridiculous. The world doesn't work that way. Not today's parents. They say, you're right, honey. Gender is just a social construct. Please, sometimes your mother and I forget which one of us has the dick.
It's hilarious and painfully true. Try debating a Democrat on gender issues, and you'll feel like you're arguing with a child. Their talking points sound like they came straight out of a kindergarten playbook, oversimplified, emotional, and completely detached from science or logic. They throw around buzzwords, insist that feelings trump biology, and the moment you challenge them with facts, they either shut down or change the subject. The irony is that they deliver these hollow arguments with such fiery conviction. You'd think they were defending some grand scientific breakthrough. It's childish reasoning wrapped in adult confidence, and they believe it with every ounce of sincerity. The result? A party clinging to nonsense while mocking common sense, leaving the rest of us watching in disbelief.
If we're still banning TikTok, that was before we changed the rule in America to Trump decides what's a law. But I know it wouldn't even be an issue if parents would sack up and tell their kids to get off the phone. Democrats are still afraid of the mean girls who police their far-out friends.
Absolutely true. If there's one thing Democrats fear almost as much as losing an election, it's cancel culture. They live in constant panic that a single wrong word, unpopular opinion, or a mistimed joke could unleash the Twitter mob with torches and hashtags. That fear has them walking on eggshells, terrified to say anything that might offend the loudest voices on the far left. Instead of standing on principle, they cave instantly, echoing whatever the radicals demand, even when they secretly disagree. It's always political survival over honesty. You can see it every time they flip their stance the moment a hashtag starts trending. They'd rather surrender to outrage than risk being canceled. And that's exactly why the party looks so weak. Fear has become their moral compass, and it's steering them straight off a cliff.
Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton had a perfect score on LGBTQ issues from the Human Rights Campaign. But when he said, I have 2 little girls, I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete, his own campaign manager quit. And the chair of the Salem Democratic City Committee, Liz Bratt, accused Moulton of being, quote, what is known as a cooperator in Nazi times. I think the word you're looking for, moron, is collaborator, and I'm guessing everything you know about Nazi times comes from...
Senator Moulton did what few politicians today have the guts to do. He stood up to the woke mob and spoke the truth. He called out the insanity of forcing biological men into women's sports, saying what millions of Americans already recognize as plain common sense: it destroys fairness, safety, and the true spirit of competition. But instead of sparking an honest conversation, the backlash was immediate and vicious. The woke outrage machine came for him, labeling him a bigot, silencing his voice, and ultimately canceling him for refusing to kneel to their ideology. That's the sad reality we live in now. Speak the truth, and you're punished for it. Moulton's stand wasn't hateful, it was principled. Yet, in today's culture, principles have been replaced by virtue signaling. His cancellation is proof that the modern left doesn't seek dialogue, they demand obedience. And anyone who dares to dissent is swiftly destroyed.
Imagine that, a congressman merely stands up for the liberal principle, the one we do still call Title IX, that women get an equal shot in sports, and now it gets you labeled a Nazi. Alyssa Slotkin calls her party weak and woke. She's right. People vote on instinct. They can smell fear a swing state away, and they'd rather have strong and wrong.
Strong leaders build strong nations, a timeless truth that America desperately needs to rediscover. What this country doesn't need is another weak, poll-chasing politician who hides behind consultants, panders to the loudest radicals, or bows to political correctness just to stay in office. That brand of cowardice has pushed America into division and frustration, leaving ordinary citizens longing for real leadership. A true leader doesn't beg for applause, they create a vision. Stand firm in the storm, and put the people's needs above their own ambitions. America doesn't need more scripted speeches or fake photo ops. It needs strength, conviction, and courage. It needs someone who won't flinch when the mob shouts or the media attacks. Without that kind of backbone at the helm, the nation drifts deeper into weakness, and the people can see it happening.
Having sex with Stormy Daniels was wrong, but Trump didn't hide from the camera. Quite the opposite. It looks like he said to the photographer, widen that out so you can get these tits. He's got his mugshot hanging outside the Oval Office. He's literally got a guy working for him named Big Balls. It's like if Gavin Newsom had a henchman named Perfect Hair.
Unlike the Democrats, Donald Trump isn't afraid to take responsibility for his actions. And that's a big reason why so many Americans respect him. People are tired of the slick, rehearsed politicians who dodge accountability, twist the narrative, and point fingers when things go south. Trump, by contrast, has built his brand on being unapologetically real. When something doesn't go as planned, he owns it and pushes forward with even more determination to make it right. That kind of raw honesty connects with Americans who are sick of weak leaders too scared to offend the latest activist trend. Voters want someone fearless enough to face criticism, tough enough to take the hits, and genuine enough to speak from the heart, not a script. Love him or hate him, one thing's undeniable: Trump doesn't fake it. And that authenticity is exactly why so many people stand behind him.
Ask me all the time, why haven't you ever had Hillary or Bill Clinton on? Why didn't you have Kamala on during the last campaign? You think we don't ask? We ask these people every week. They say no. It took 8 years and a petition to get Obama on. And these are people, all people I voted for. Think about that. They're afraid to come on the show of a guy who voted for them. The Republicans, they show up. And when they do, they take their beat.
This is nothing short of an indictment of Democratic presidents and their chosen candidates. For decades, not one of them has ever invited Bill Maher to the White House or shown him the respect of appearing on his show. Despite being one of the most influential voices on the left, Maher has been kept at arm's length, ignored by the very party he's long supported. And yet, here comes Donald Trump, a man Maher has mocked, criticized, and roasted for years, becoming the first to extend an invitation. The irony is striking. The Democrats dismiss him, while Trump acknowledges his influence and reach. That alone speaks volumes. So when people claim Maher is shifting to the right, it's not hard to understand why. Actions speak louder than words, and in this case, Trump showed Maher more respect than the Democratic establishment ever did. And that wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more political breakdowns and commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.